But nevertheless, some of these men that are weak as well can also be applied to dudes like these guys with big beer bellies. Some of
Yeah.
these
Unhealthy
dudes, yeah,
guys.
unhealthy guys that might be older. They might be truckers. Sometimes these guys end up being perverts. These guys, these are ones that are dangerous for society. It's them not understanding their masculine role and burden of performance. That's why it's good for men to actually to improve and work on your fitness. They were explaining that they did a study. I think it was just this past year, if I'm not mistaken, that they were saying there was just like a lot of medications would be eliminated. A lot of psychological psych meds would be eliminated if people just went to the gym. You wouldn't need to take antidepressants if you just went to the gym. Because if you take care of a strong body creates a strong mind. In order for you to keep going pushing weights, you have to mentally convince yourself
That
to
you can do
push
it.
beyond the max, yeah, to just keep going.
And through the pain.
Yeah, and yeah, and through the pain. And by doing that, this is why sometimes you get guys that end up becoming gym junkies because they get a huge endorphin relief off that push, and it becomes it's a dopamine hit for them to keep going back to it. It's the same effect that you have when you check your Instagram timeline, and people do that. They get addicted to their cell phones just because of all the visual presentation that is going directly into your brain all at once. It's a lot of visual stimulation all at once. So if you have phone addiction issues, this is like a tip. They say if you have an iPhone, you can go and grayscale your phone, cut it on grayscale. Some of the corporate guys know this as well too. They do this in the corporate environment. And in order to keep them under self-control from not wanting to grab their phone and check their Instagram account, put your phone on grayscale and it becomes less visually appealing and you won't want to grab your phone as much.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it kind of help get yourself under control so you can get tasks done.
Yeah.
And
Because people don't realize how much time they spend.
yeah, and reward yourself once you get the task done by cutting back on your camera onto the color aspect of it. But that is what gets people addicted is the dopamine hit of that visual stimulation. But for what I'm saying from an idea of mental health type subject, what negates a lot of need for mental health is just understanding if you decide for psych meds of depression is just to go to the gym. And it's what Andrew Tate got famous for. Andrew Tate blew up on YouTube because he said, depression's not real. I don't believe in depression. Why do I want to believe in something that takes power away from me and take that in as that's gospel for my life? He's like, no, go to the gym, lift weights, build a strong body because it creates a strong mind. So shouts to Top G. Oh, see, da dina, oh, see, da dina, oh, see, da dina, oh, see, da dina. Part of the motivation why we even started our channel, not him, multiple factors, fresh and fit guys, whatever.
He also talks about eating good too.
Yeah.
That's the other thing you can't forget is
Yeah.
if you're playing these games and for weak men you're living a fake reality and then you're putting these really bad processed foods in your body while mixing in not moving, and you don't mind glorifying that aspect of life. In fact, you won't argue to stand up for men who are in that area, but you will happily attack a man who goes to the gym, is pursuing a career, has his business in order, is helping young men. That man is a danger to you, but men in their basements, overweight, eating terrible food, listening and watching hardcore pornographic material, which is studies have shown are terrible for young men.
Fapping all day long.
But that is okay. That isn't an issue to look into.
No fap.
But that the other side, which is these men who go to gym. Oh well, they're arrogant. They're gym junkies. They're fit.
Yeah.
Most of the guys that I know who gym actually their structure of life is amazing.
It's disciplined.
Because
that's what makes the man, and that's what makes if a lady has interest in you, ideally these ladies that are of value, that have interest in you, they will value you because they'll see that you have the ability to set a goal and complete it. That's called discipline, you know? So if you can build your body up to a certain standard, that is a reminder to her, oh, shoot, this guy is actually able to say he's going to start something and finish it. That's more commendable than anything.
And it's not an easy task. And with all, like, I'm not trying to be rude, but sitting down, playing games, eating nasty ass food.
Yeah,
Kels can agree that's the easiest thing to do.
Eating Domino's and Mountain Dew for days and stuff
and sitting down playing games.
Yeah, and
anyone can do that. It doesn't take brain cells.
Yeah, and beating the meat.
Yeah, literally the easiest task in the world. You don't need a zitch of skill.
Yeah,
but going to the gym myself, when I first started, I didn't realize it is hard. Yeah. It is hard. There are days you don't want to go. In fact, there are whole weeks where you're like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
What am I gaining from this? And then when you pass for me, I passed almost like a line.
A threshold.
A threshold. That's what I was looking for. And you go, wow, I've put on 10 kgs. I've lost 3% body fat. Yeah. And I feel good. You have more energy. Yeah. You feel, well, this is just for me, I have more energy, I feel more clear, I feel more organized. Yeah. And I think these are things that young men should be looking into doing. Weak men look at it as, oh, you're arrogant. I think weak men look at men like that and go, well, you're just trying to show off. Well, I'm sorry that living a healthy life, trying to look great is showing off.
It's showing off. But we'll tell you, exactly like Andrew Tate said, it's pretty hard to be depressed while you have a six-pack.
There we go.
Pretty fucking hard to be depressed while you have a six-pack.
You know what? That is very true. Most of the guys... I went to an all-boys college. Most of the guys who were overweight, they were very fucking sad. Yeah. But the other thing is I think it was two guys who... one of them, a real close friend of mine, who put in the effort, went to the gym. He was pretty happy. Yeah. Got the body he wanted. Yeah. Which meant it gave him the confidence he wanted. Yeah. Which meant... it gave him the confidence to speak to the girl he wanted. Exactly. It was all a ripple effect. Yeah. It started off with just wanting to be healthy. Then it turned into confidence, which turned into... because he looked good. Yeah. He actually did look good. Yeah. And then the girl that he thought he couldn't get, he could get. Yeah. So all of this plays a part with each other. So I just genuinely don't understand how you can shit on someone for... yeah. For them disciplining their lives and taking care of their lives. And just to tell you guys really quickly, competence equals confidence. So competence means your ability to understand something and adapt information, even what we're talking about right now. If you can be competent enough to understand, if I can discipline my life together and structure it so that I have a routine, that person that I meet, this lady that I meet, will respect me for me being able to set a goal and then complete it. Yeah. And that's the reminder why it's important to build your physicality on top of, it helping you with any type of idea of depression or sadness or anything, is that you take care of your health, which is a component of that, 100%. And what you consume. And so what you mentioned about Andrew Tate, that's a beautiful segue into what I was about to talk about, where there are men that shit on men that have their lives together and that actually believe in themselves and they actually want to set goals for themselves. Mm-hmm. And I talked to Benda about it. I likened it to the aspect of me myself being an actor and being in in New Zealand or anywhere, but being in an environment, some people can mistake that your competence, your confidence in your competence equals arrogance. Then that's how people treat Andrew Tate. There's people that have an extreme disdain for Andrew Tate. I hate for him without understanding this is what he's portraying himself to be. Andrew Tate is portraying himself to be like a wrestler, like a Hulk Hogan, a heel, a wrestling heel, or he's I likened him to Ali G. He's putting on a performative act, and you gotta not forget he's from Luton. He's from the UK, so there's a bit of dry humor in there where it's kind of on the nose, and you think he's being literal. Ooh, yeah. He's not being literal, but he's doing that for entertainment value. But essentially, the guy he's giving all these tips around his entertainment value of planting little seeds of things that matter, and you have to put candy in the medicine.
And that's his way of getting the younger audience's attention. That was his method, was to put the candy in the medicine.
Because if he just spoke, it would just be boring, and no one would
Yeah,
listen.
of course. He just talked like, guys, you should just do this, blah, 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 blah. It's not going to resonate. He can't do a Jordan Peterson approach.
Yeah.
Because Jordan Peterson,
Yeah.
he does appeal to a younger crowd, but
a lot of his
his vernacular is very intellectual.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, it requires a lot of like actual
You have to think
patience and thinking, which is what a lot of young people don't have.
Yeah.
So forgive our videos for being very long. But yeah, there's weak men that find Andrew Tate's discipline, his wealth, his ability to have gotten there as a problem for them, because essentially it's a reflecting mirror to make you look at yourself and go, how did that human achieve that? How dare he must have cheated. He must have done something wrong, illegal, to have gotten to that point. I remember when I first moved to New Zealand, maybe a year after I moved to New Zealand, and I was here. I was signed to a modeling agency. I did some commercials, and I did a gig, and I got a nice little payday out of it. It was a Samsung commercial. I got a great little payday out of it. But I lived with 3 LGBTQ ladies at one point because I was staying at a backpackers when I got here. I was trying to find my way of getting settled. I didn't know whether I should get an apartment, whatever the case may be. So I moved in with my friend who was a photographer, shouts to Owen, and he had 3 or 4 flatmates that were all LGBTQ. One of them I will speak about later because it's part of the subject matter. But these ladies, for some reason, saw I had some nice things, and they were just like, well, why? How did you get all these things? And, oh, you're from America. Oh, okay. Well, why do you have nice things? And why do you want to move in here as a flatmate? Can't you get your own place? And it was very just like, why you have this and that. It was looking down upon the fact that I had great things. And these ladies broke into my luggage and stole things out of my luggage that, it was a Louis Vuitton belt. It was a nice watch that I had. And they broke into my things because they had such resentment and angst that I had something nice.
And it's also the fact that you can't get it yourself. So you usually take from other people that you can't get. Mm-hmm. When you know deep down you can't get the body that the guy's talking about. You can't get the cars, the houses. So you'll either talk down on them, tell everyone I hate them, or you'll take it.
Yeah.
Or, lastly, you want to see it all go away from them.
Yeah.
Which is happening to Andrew Tate at the moment. People don't want to see him have all those nice things. And people will be like, no, that's not it. It's because he did these bad things. No,
it's
because
not.
At the end of the day, before he even got in trouble, you hated him.
Yeah.
And even before then, you hated him. So it doesn't matter whether it's this, or he could be 120% innocent.
Yeah.
You will find a reason to hate him because in retrospect, you hate yourself. You hate the fact that you're not living the life that you want to live.
Yeah.
And we're humans. Just be truthful to yourself. There are times where I'm like, man, I should be doing that thing that young guy's doing.
I should do better. I gotta get my life or some. I have to plan something. I can't just wing shit.
Don't lie to yourself. I'm not lying to myself. I'm just looking at that guy and I'm not going, oh well, he's arrogant and I bet he's a drug dealer.
Yeah.
First of all, who cares what he does in his private life?
Human trafficker. I saw a PDF on the Associated Press.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
it's just like that young woman is living her best life. It's about you.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
You can obviously look at other people and go, wow, that's great. But it's about you. What do you want?
And people hate that mirror being reflected on themselves. But it's necessary that we see people that are working on their lives and they're doing great things. And because, we need good examples of like, hey, I can't achieve that. He's a human. He did it. That means that I can do it as well. And not everybody that has success is because they necessarily did something horrible to get there. The man, as far as Andrew Tate goes, he did a legal business. He did a very legal business with webcam work. Whether people like it or not, it's still legal.
Well, people are doing OnlyFans, okay? So, like, you can't shit on him for being like, he has a bunch of women on video. There's Becky from down the street who's 19 doing it.
Who's volunteering to put herself on the internet. And then a lot of these ladies do get male management because men are good with delegating certain things in a way that some ladies just aren't. Men are good for certain things as far as different
It's always been like that.
Different ways of planning because there's less emotion involved.
And it's always been that
And
way.
always
If you
been
look
that
the
way.
history,
How you-
whether it's Playboy, whether it's Hustler magazine,
Yeah.
where every some of the heads of like other porn
porn
internets,
studios, yeah.
they are all run by men.
They're run
Now,
by-
if
they're
you're
run
gonna
by
go
men, yeah.
after and be like, well, you go after all of them. Go
Yeah.
after Playboy, go after Hustler, go after Pornhub, go after all these porn. First of all, you'd put a lot of women out of work if you start coming after them.
Yeah, it's just that's just a that's a rabbit hole in general, and that's a long battle for somebody that wants to go seek it out. And like I said before in one video, if your government really cared about disinformation, misinformation stuff on the internet, they would ban all porn. They have not banned all porn,
Fuck no.
so they don't care about bad stuff being on the internet and conversations being on the internet fully, other than to try to control context. They want to control the messaging, which they used to have when we watched TV. Now, hardly anyone watches TV. We go on YouTube. As you can see, we're here.
Everything's online.
Everything's online, and now they want the ability to control the narrative, But back to Tate, people hate on people that are successful. And so quickly with
Especially weak men.
Yeah, especially weak men. So in the case of my story with me being an actor, I explained I had these ladies that broke into my luggage, and they happen to be LGBTQ, and I'm not saying that anything was wrong with them, but it's just people having insecurities and having their weaknesses. So in the context of someone that wants to be, the difference with someone that is a entrepreneur, business owner, an artist, like an actor or a model or whatever, is that it takes a certain degree of belief and tenacity for you to find yourself worthy of being for you to invest in yourself, for you to find yourself worthy of being a brand, because when you create an original idea, then that is the brand, whether that is you marketing yourself as your own business as a performer or musician or whatever the case may be, or you're starting your own business. It's still you believing in your own idea. And so in order to believe in that idea, it takes courage and competence that you can complete things. And so that confidence comes from your competence. And so it's not that these people feel like they're better than you. It's just that they already did the work to say, I am worthy of having great things in my life. Now, because you haven't done the work to believe yourself of being worthy of having something on the level that you think they're on, because you might think they're more successful than they actually are. There's people that look at some entertainers and they're like, oh, these guys are loaded with money, and they're not.
Yeah.
So whatever you make up in your mind it's just a projection of you and your viewpoint.
Yeah.
From whatever world you live in, which is your social world, and that is your reality. But that's not everyone's reality. But these artists and these entrepreneurs and these business owners, they did the work on themselves to find themselves worthy. And so you have to do the work to believe in yourself, because if you don't do the work, you will be resentful of the fact that they actually have good things, that they're doing well. And that's the dangerous part about weak people, is that sometimes these weak people, whether that's a weak man, weak female, male, female, whoever, if you're a weak person in general, you'll get into a position of authority and you will abuse it, because you will resent other people that are coming up, because you'll have a scarcity mindset that, oh, there's not enough room for all of us, and I need to make sure that person doesn't get ahead. So there's people that will stifle your career actively because they're so afraid that there's not enough opportunity for people. And these are people that didn't do the confidence building in themselves. They go, wait, I'm worthy, you're worthy, we all have different perspectives, there's enough room for all of us, to profit or make entertainment or be on TV or be on a photo shoot, whatever the case may be,
Yeah.
or have a business. There's room for everybody, because everyone's POV is different from each other's.
Saying that should be dangerous. By dangerous, that implies I should be ready to threaten someone, to hurt somebody.
No, you should be capable of it. But that doesn't mean you should use it. There's nothing to you otherwise. Like, if you're not a formidable force, there's no morality in your self-control. If you're incapable of violence, not being violent isn't a virtue. People who teach martial arts know this full well, right? If If you learn a martial art, you learn to be dangerous, but simultaneously you learn to control it. Both of those come together. And the combination of that capacity for danger and the capacity for control is what brings about the virtue. Otherwise, you confuse weakness with moral virtue. I'm harmless, therefore I'm good. It's like, no, that isn't how it works. That isn't how it works at all. If you're harmless, you're just weak. And if you're weak, you're not going to be good. You can't be, because it takes strength to be good. It's very difficult to be.
Why are you afraid of being weak?
If you make yourself weak, life is very hard. If you make yourself weak and you suffer stupidly because of it, you will become bitter. And once you become bitter, you will become vengeful. And after vengeful, there is no limit. That's one of the things I learned from studying totalitarianism in the 20th century, because I studied it from the psychological perspective movements. I was interested in the motivations of the cruelest Auschwitz guard. What was he up to? Or the person who went and shot up the elementary school in Connecticut. What was he up to exactly? Just exactly where did he dwell and why? It's like, well, weakness made him suffer stupidly, and that made him cruel, and that was just the beginning.
If people come to you and they got anger, and it's really coming from somewhere else, like their road rage is coming from their life. It's not coming from the car that they're in. But you don't got to respond by putting your middle finger up back at them, because if you do, they may be already at the edge and they're going to crash, and you just caused them to crash into you when they would have crashed into something else.
Yeah,
you know, when I look at it like that, I go, let me just control when I'm aggressive about things. And then when I do it, it's calculated. So now I mean it when I'm doing it.
It's 4 a.m, club just ended. I was in a chicken and chip shop. It's an English thing. They sell like fries and fried chicken. And there's a long line. An Audi with tinted windows pulls up. These 3 big black guys get out, push straight in front of the whole line, go straight up to the front, cut in front of 5 people, and start ordering. My girl goes to me, we've been waiting here ages. I said, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. She goes, you're just gonna let them push in? I said, shut the fuck up. Anyway, 2 in front of me, he couldn't tell this bitch to shut up. She's like, excuse me, there's a line. And the guy turns around and goes, you think I don't see the fucking line? I don't care about a fucking line. So she starts running her mouth. Bro, this dude knocked her the fuck out. Clean, out cold. By the time her man looked at her and looked back up, boom, sparked, done. And I stood there and watched both of them just laid out clean. The 3 dudes who ordered the chicken and chips didn't even take their food. They started laughing, walked back out, got in the car. And I turned around and said to my girl, you see, some people are just ready to fucking go to jail. Some people are ready to kill people over fucking nothing.
This is why weak people are very dangerous. Weak men are very dangerous, you know? So another example of weak men and weak people is like your school shooters, these guys that you see in the US that you see on the news, they went and shot up a school, you know, or they did something out of emotions, you know? So ladies, please be careful when you're telling guys to be emotionally vulnerable. It's very bad advice, because you might be cultivating a future school shooter or rapist to go, you know, he's like, I'm just feeling, do I deserve this? Rather than him earning it, because he earned it from his confidence, from his competence, from him actually building himself, whether that's physically building himself so that he has options with the lady, and financially building himself up too.
And Cal doesn't mean have no emotion. He's saying
emotions are a part of masculinity. Yeah. We feel breakups way deeper than women feel breakups, because we're not presented with opportunities of romance, especially at a young age, or companionship, to put it that way. Not romance, but just having the ability to have a relationship with a lady. We feel like we don't have those opportunities, and we don't, because when we're young, we're not of much value. You as ladies, when you're born, you're of value immediately. You're beautiful, you have your youth. As you become a teen, you know, you develop or whatever, and you get attention from other boys in school and other people, classmates you go to. So you're already of value. But a guy who's in your same age group, he's not going to get that same attention. So he's looking around going, well, damn, I feel worthless. She's got the boyfriend she wants, and I don't know if I'll even have a girlfriend. And this is why you have these guys falling in love with cartoon characters on an anime or their favorite video game, is because that's what they've made up in their mind to stimulate their lack thereof of female attention. But a lot of men don't understand is that that's normal. That,
Hey guys, if you want to watch more clips, click here.
And if you want to watch the full podcast, click right here.